Hello. Let's see if I can. Whoops. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you for coming out. I'm going to wait another minute or two until a few more people join us. Let's see. All right. Great. All right. So we're just about ready to start. So we got one more here. So I'm going to begin because these are supposed to be half-hour sessions. And that's not much time. We got a lot to talk about. So what I'm going to do is spend about 15 minutes or so talking about our curriculum and our academic program. And then I'm going to try to carve out some time for questions and answers. And if after that you'd like to talk some more, absolutely, let's schedule a time when we can do that quickly and shortly in the near future. So welcome. My name's Scott Bennett. I'm thrilled to be getting to know your first graders. This is my 13th year teaching first grade and my 16th year at Holy Apostles. One of the things that I love about first grade is the growth. As your students are going to be 180 degrees different at the end of the year than they are now in terms of their academic knowledge. And the way it traditionally works, so if we're able to be in the classroom that whole time, what we usually see is that in the first half of the class year up till Christmas, New Year's, into January, we don't see as much growth. It's kind of relatively level, but right after January and February, they take off and they really skyrocket in terms of their reading ability and with math and just their overall problem solving ability. So with that in mind, let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me, but hopefully this is working out okay. We're using some new technology, new hardware here at school. So I hope it's working okay so far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the parent night packet on. I'm going to share that screen with you just so we can talk through some of the curricular components. So just a sec, I'm going to share the screen. All right. All right, so hopefully you can see the parent night packet on your screens. So first of all, I want to just mention that one of the things we really try to do is communicate well with you. I know that at the beginning of the year, there's been a few issues with some of our email lists, and we're working that out. We're also getting up to speed with Seesaw. In all honesty, it's been a learning process for the teachers, and I know we still have much to learn, but we are looking forward to getting started with Seesaw tomorrow with half of our class, and then on Thursday with the other half of our class. We will be using Seesaw to communicate much of what's going on in the classroom. We'll also use Seesaw to let you know when there's been updates to our first grade website. And we do usually update that website several times throughout the week. Another tool that you're going to hear about is the Remind app, which will allow us to communicate with you via text. And so within the next week, we're going to be sending home information, inviting you to join Remind. One of the cool things about Remind is that your text number is anonymous, so it will be protected, but would allow you to quickly let us know if there's something going on, and vice versa, we can quickly let you know if there's some news or information that you need. And it turned out to be very helpful when we were virtual learning from home last spring. So I hope that you will find the Remind app to be of interest. Your first graders should be bringing home a home folder every day. Please look in your home folder to see corrected work or other notes from school. And if there's anything that you want to send to school, please send it in the home folder. When your first grader gets to school each day, the second or third thing they do is they open up their home folder and give me everything that's in that home folder, and I'll make sure that I see anything that you've sent to school. So getting into our curriculum, our core subjects, certainly math is one of them. We spend about an hour a day in math, and in the parent packet, I've outlined the core concepts that we focus on, but the two that are mentioned first, understanding numbers up to 120 and addition and subtraction facts within 20, that's what we spend most of the year focused on. And as I've outlined in the packet, we put a big emphasis on memorizing math facts. We want to get really fluent and really quick on knowing addition and subtraction, especially up to 12. And I know that out in our society, there are some folks who think that rote memorization of facts is not useful, but for math, if you know your addition and subtraction facts like that, then the more advanced math that's coming in later grades will be much easier, and math will be much more enjoyable. So that means that in first grade, we're going to ask that you spend 5 minutes a night practicing addition and subtraction facts. And there's a few ways we suggest that you do that. Next week, we're going to send home some flashcards. We're going to start with addition to 8, and then we'll have later in the fall subtraction up to 8, and then we'll go addition and subtraction to 10, and into the spring, addition and subtraction up to 12. We'll also be sending them some games and some online links that you can use, and we suggest that you vary the way that you study math facts with your first grader. One night do flashcards, another night do a game on the computer, another night you could do a game with dice or cards at home. And please set a timer. 5 minutes a night is enough. We'd rather do 5 minutes a night and stop and then resume that the next night than to try to make it 10 minutes or 15 minutes a night. If you do a little bit every night over time, everyone's going to be a lot happier, and your first grader really will make progress. So memorizing those math facts is a really important part of first grade math. That will then also correlate to understanding what numbers mean up to 120, problem solving, as well as the other concepts that I've listed in the Parent Night packet. Literacy combines reading, writing, and grammar. And Of those three, we especially emphasize reading, which really is the core of first grade. And a lot of people say we read to learn. We learn to read so that we can read to learn. So we spend a lot of time with the reading. We're also spending a lot of time with the writing, a little bit less time on the conventions of the language and grammar. And then we do have voweletics, which is our phonics component. You'll be receiving some information next week about voweletics in more detail, but tonight I just wanted to talk a little bit about the way we are going to teach reading. For the students that are in our classroom, each student gets their own book box, and they get to pick the books that they're going to read in that book box. And that's why it was so nice to read with your first grader last week. It helped me figure out where they're at in terms of their reading level. I don't know if in K5, if they explained how the reading levels work, but basically they go from A to Z. Kindergartners are typically between A and D. First graders go from D, typically. We expect them to be between D and I or J. And then when you get into L, M, N, that's a second grade reading level. Wherever your first grader is at, I will read with them, and I'll read with them either one-on-one or in a small group once or twice a week. And I'm able to work with them in order to move them along. And it's been our experience that we can almost always get every first grader, even the ones that are still at A or B, we can get them up to that JK level or beyond. And when we talk about those levels, what that means is that they're able to read a text with 90 to 95% accuracy of decoding, and then understand what the text is trying to tell them. So if it's nonfiction, they can understand the main idea, and they can use the text and graphic features. And if it's fiction, they can identify the characters, the setting, they can infer the character's feelings, and what the character's thinking, and they can also infer messages and themes in their reading. So those are the skills that we work on in their small groups. And the way that we achieve that ability to read one-on-one or in small groups is we're going to start spending time learning how to read to self and how to work independently. So we have a routine that we've established over the last 10 years where your first grader will, when it's time to read to themselves or on their own, they're going to read out of their book box. They're going to start right away, read the whole time, read a book 3 ways, and there'll usually be some work that they do with their reading. So each student's reading out of their book box at their level, and while they're doing that, I'm reading one-on-one with students or in small groups with students. And that method of teaching has been really successful for us in the past. Another key component of our reading is we have a subscription to a great program called Raz-Kids. You'll be getting information about that next week. And we would ask that you use Raz-Kids as part of your at-home reading each night. So for homework in first grade, I mentioned the 5 minutes of math fact practice. We're also going to ask that you read at home, or your first grader read at home, 10 to 15 minutes each night. Some nights that could be when you read to them out of a picture book. That's fine, that could be part of it. But some nights we'd like your first grader to be reading on Raz-Kids at home on a device or tablet. The beauty of Raz-Kids is they're quality books at your first grader's reading level. And actually, we set the reading level so it's one level easier than their instructional reading level, so that they can focus on comprehension and not on decoding. So 10 to 15 minutes a night of reading, in addition to the 5 minutes of math facts, is what we're asking that you do most nights. Um, we also emphasize science in, I'm sorry, I do need to mention one more thing about literacy. I almost went by without mentioning it, which is we will have a spelling program as part of Voweletics, where we will send home a spelling list on Monday. There's typically 10 words and 2 sentences that the students will practice, and the words will all be centered around a phonics sound that we're learning in class that week. You'll have access to the Voweletics program at home on your computer, where your first grader can listen to the songs that we sing and do some of the activities that we do at home, at school as well. So I did want to make sure you understood that there is a weekly spelling list. And so we do ask that you spend 5 minutes a night practicing spelling words, and we'll be sending them some ideas about how you could make that interesting to your first grader or provide some variety in practicing spelling words. So you'll get your first information about Voweletics next week as well. Our science program is part of the Project Lead the Way curriculum, which combines engineering and science, but we do especially emphasize using the engineering design process to solve problems in science. So we are going to have units in animal adaptations, light and sound, and the moon and the stars. And I didn't put it on the parent night packet, but sometimes we're able to fit in a little computer programming as well. So one of the things that Project Lead the Way is fantastic in doing is in helping students learn how to work in groups cooperatively and to problem solve. In the environment that we're in with COVID, we're not going to be able to do as much of the hands-on group work together. Students will now be working separately, but they can still make decisions in groups and still assign roles to each other in groups. So rest assured that they're still going to learn a lot of the problem-solving cooperative strategies that are becoming more and more important in the workplace as well. Social studies, we focus on, we have a unit in citizenship, politics, government. We have a unit on geography. We'll learn about history. We have a unit on culture and even a unit on economics in first grade. One of the things that we also do that really makes social studies come to life for first graders is we're increasingly focusing our reading curriculum around social studies concepts. So a lot of the books that we read in reading have a social studies content to them. So history, we'll read about the history of the Americas. We'll read about really inspiring people out of our history and culture. And we'll learn a lot about countries around the world in the context of our reading and then our writing as well. So we bring social studies to life through reading and writing, as well as just through our social studies units. Mrs. Bergen will come into our room to teach religion every day, and I go into her classroom to teach science every day. When Mrs. Bergen comes into the room, they'll be learning about important Bible stories, prayers, and aspects of Mass, baptism, and confirmation. In first grade, we do learn the 5 core prayers, the Our Father, Glory Be, Guardian Angel, Hail Mary, and Grace Before Meals prayer. And there will be short assessments on those throughout the year. We are going to have Mass on Friday mornings, virtually most weeks, but we are buddies with the 8th graders, and every 6-7 weeks or so, there will be an opportunity for 1st and 8th grade to actually attend Mass in church, socially distanced. And the first such Mass is coming up on September 11th. It's the Holy Apostles Commissioning, School Commissioning Mass, where the 8th graders are commissioned as the leaders of the school. And we will have, your first graders will have a role in that as well. So that will be videotaped, and hopefully you'll get a chance to take a look at that. And it'll be interesting to see how we do it this year. We're still working that out with our social distancing. Gym is Monday and Wednesdays. We do ask that your first grader have a pair of extra gym shoes in their locker, just in case the shoes they're wearing are wet or muddy, or for some other reason not good to use on the gym floor. All of our specialty teachers, except for Jim, are coming into our room, and they will be using Seesaw and Zoom to live stream for those of you that are in a virtual learning situation. So I've mentioned the homework practice, math, spelling, reading, sight word practice. That is something you'll learn about a little bit later, so you don't have to worry about that for the first few weeks of school. We really want to focus right at the beginning of the year on reading, math fact practice, and spelling. So that is 20 to 25 minutes a night. All right, I think I'm going to pause there, and we got about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to first of all just mention that I know the next 2 days are going to be kind of practice days for learning from home for half of our class. So as with a lot of technologies, part of the learning comes from trying it, and you know, there's a decent chance there'll be some mistakes and some glitches. So we ask for your patience with this, but we will get this. If there are glitches the next couple days, rest assured, we are working very hard to get everything up to speed as quickly as possible. So hopefully you all received information about how to sign in at home. Excuse me. If you're having any trouble with signing in at home, then please send me an email, or I can give you my phone right now, and you could text me that information as well. So for what it's worth, if you want to call me on my cell phone and text me, if you got if you need help getting in, my phone number, if you want to write it down, it's 414-861-5497. So 414-861-5497. So with that being said, if anyone has any questions, we could take those now. Otherwise, I can try to talk a little bit through, I can share the Seesaw screen and we can talk through that a little bit. But does anyone have questions at this point?
Yeah, Mr. Bennett, this is Dan Stick. Thank you for getting everything going here tonight. I think I speak for a lot of us, so we really appreciate it. Just wanted to ask you about that Remind app.
Yes.
I just downloaded it, but it looks like Holy Apostles is in there, but you're not in there. So,
yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, through the Remind app, I'm going to enter in all your email addresses, and you'll receive an email asking you if you want to sign up for Remind, and there'll be directions for how to do that. And you can sign up either through, well, you will eventually have to give them your cell phone number. You can also give them your email address if you want, but that will come out next week.
Okay. I was just trying to be ahead of the game.
Sure. I appreciate that. Thank you. I think you guys will really, I don't know if you've used the Remind app, but it's really an excellent way to communicate. Anyone else have any other questions or things that have come up in the first week of school so far?
Uh, I've got a question. TJ Kelm.
Hi.
Um, Hi. What tomorrow's virtual day, what will that look like?
Okay.
Like how long are the kids expected to be online and kind of the schedule?
All right. So at 8:15, we're asking students to join the Zoom link. So in Seesaw, you'll see the Zoom link, and it's the same Zoom link all year long, all day long, at any time during the day. So at 8:15, they'll come on, and that'll just be for attendance. When I'll see, make sure everyone's able to get into the Zoom link. At that point, I'm going to say, okay, I'm glad you made it in. Now you can leave the Zoom link and come back at 10:30. So at 10:30, both tomorrow and or on Thursday, whichever day you're home, that's going to be our reading lesson. And I expect it will last about 15 to 20 minutes. There will be, and that when I say that, it'll be 15 to 20 minutes of whole group instruction from me to the class and to the people that are coming in through Zoom. After that, there'll be an activity on Seesaw, which will probably take another 10 to 15 minutes. It'll involve the skills that your first graders learned in school so far, which is taking a picture and recording their voice, some of their ideas using the voice recorder. Okay. Then so after I'm done with my whole group instruction at 10:45, 10:50, I will say, okay, you guys can leave the meeting. Please come back at 12:15. So 12:15 will be our math lesson. The math lesson will also be about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll say, okay, those of you that are at home, you can leave the meeting. And then there'll be another Seesaw activity. The math lessons have to do with number sense, expressing numbers between 0 and 10. And they're pretty fun things. So your first grader can do that on their own. Now, if for some reason you can't make those times, they will be recorded. And the recordings will be uploaded to Seesaw as quickly as soon as we get a second, we'll do that. So if you miss that 10:30 and 12:15 time, then you can check in with the recording later. I saw Mrs. Brenton had her hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had a question. I'm coming in late to the meeting.
Sure.
But with the Seesaw, is that an app that we can get on a tablet, iPad, or a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Any of those ways will work. All right. And Mrs.
Right.
Brenton, I indicated to people, if you're having a hard time getting in, if you want to text me, my phone number is 414-861-5497.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Also, tomorrow there's a gym class. Mr. K has pre-recorded a lesson. So you can just get that off of Seesaw and watch that at any time. And tomorrow is Wednesday, so I'm trying to think. I think that's it for tomorrow. But then on Thursday, if you're home on Thursday, we have music. That is at 9:10, 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. Mrs. Wilda will be conducting her lesson in our classroom using the same Zoom link. So please be here at 9:10 for music. And then I'm pretty positive she will not have a follow-up activity on Seesaw. So for her, it'll just be the actual live lesson from 9:10 about, I'm pretty sure for her, 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. So it is almost 6 o'clock, and so I'm afraid I do have to honor the time to get to the next session. However, you're certainly welcome to join that session if you have further questions, or if you want to get a hold of me, You can text me or email me or call me. I would be happy to follow up and talk some more about anything related to first grade at your convenience as soon as possible. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience with us, but most of all, thank you for your first graders. They're really very charming and they've been so good. I'm so impressed. So thank you very much. We're gonna have a great year. We're sanitizing. You wouldn't believe how much we sanitize our hands, but they're doing a great job and we're gonna make it through this year. So thank you very much. I look forward to being.
Thank you,
in
Mr.
touch with
Bennett.
soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. So I'm going to exit the meeting and stop sharing here. All right. Take care, everyone.